little does everybody know in Boston, he's the biggest winner in the city. It's not like glamorous to be an audio engineer, but if it was, he'd be probably the most famous dude in the city.
Hi, I'm John Scott. I run Phoenix Down Recording, and this is the Golden Hour.
Blew it. Got it wrong. Keep going. We'll give it another try. It's all right. I don't fuck with you anymore, but it's straight.
This is John Scott. I run Phoenix Down Recording, and this is my Golden Hour.
Yeah. I got it. Shorty gave me time for the code. Had to wake 'em up like it's Folgers. Hey, had to wake 'em up like it's Folgers. Hey, shorty gave me time for the culture. Hey, your boyfriend the eye.
Okay, so listen. I feel like you're looking at this paranoid. Like I'm
No, I'm so used to looking at the recording screen. It's like I have it.
Do you want me to take the brightness down?
No.
I think I should, man.
Maybe you just
yeah, okay,
turn the whole thing up.
I'll take it down. Also, did you realize? So John, before I give him a proper introduction, have been obsessively, him more so honestly, about improving the layout of the frame. And as you can see, if you go back to like episode like 6 or 7, there's like a total change in scenery. And this was the last piece for me, at least. You see how disgusting the stickers are? So I was like, all right, I'm going to go get a new case, like professional.
I told you I liked the stickers.
Yeah, because you're out of your mind, man.
No, I love
You're like, dude, I would pay for that.
Dude, I told you I would. I was like, that looks like a very, like, aged, road-worn, as they would say in the guitar industry.
I think you've been up too late, man.
Probably. I just liked it.
But before we begin, Rafi, come on, swing around, bro.
Yo, check out the lights.
Oh, yeah, definitely get the lights on the thing. But here, introduce yourself.
Rafi Wilder, kicking over Rafi. That's where I'm from. So that's all it is.
Oh, what is Rafi?
So it's an acronym. It's from when I was rapping. It's like Rodriguez Alberto Fuck It. I couldn't come up with a rap name, so then that's what it was.
More creative than a lot of other stuff I've heard out of the studio.
I like it. Fuck it.
Yeah, definitely get the lights too in the B-roll. But Rafi's running his own series, which we'll talk.
Crazy. I thought that was a shadow from the TV.
Yeah, because the TV's doing the same shit.
Yeah.
Same color.
Oh shit.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. I feel like that's like your prized possession, these lights.
Yeah, I gotta get some of these lights in the frame.
Beautiful. So listen, I have not been more excited to run an episode yet. I know we already got you on one, but
Appreciate it.
Yeah, there's no one that I think I've met yet that's doing stuff that their success has been more predicated on just pure hard work.
Appreciate it.
And like you can tell from miles away. I'm sure you can do the same thing. You can tell when someone actually works hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been around an eclectic mix of people.
You can tell when it's someone's first time, and you can like trying something, working hard, and you can tell when someone's been doing it.
Absolutely.
When they've been on the grind for a long time, when it's like.
And I'm sure you can also tell when people are like talk and people are actually like putting in work.
Yeah. Usually. Every once in a while, someone will talk, a big talk, and then I'll be like, oh damn, no, that's real. They can do that. And then 90% of the time it's, oh no, that's not. People are just talking.
Yeah. I mean, and also you have been all over the country and you've dealt with an eclectic mix of characters.
I have.
So that's just, I trust your word on that, when someone's with the shits.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, this is John Scott.
What's up?
John runs the studio we're currently in. He owns the studio we're currently in. And he's also, I'll big you up. You ready? He's top 5. this isn't based on stats because I don't look at stats or data, but he's a top 5 audio engineer in the country. And little does everybody know, in Boston, he's the biggest winner in the city. He literally is. I know there's tons of big artists, but this motherfucker is the biggest winner. I know everyone it's not like glamorous to be an audio engineer, but if it was, he'd be probably the most famous dude in the city.
It's been a wild ride this year.
And he's just been up and down, crazy shit. I think I kind of came in at the perfect time.
Yeah, I was going right out to LA. I saw you for like couple days, and I was gone for a month.
Yeah, it was crazy. Well, what had happened was we were bouncing around like 3-4 different spaces, and I was just so fucking fed up. I was like, yo, I have to find a place to like concretely. So your phone number's online.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a sicko. What's wrong with you?
Yo, it's a problem, but it like being able to text people when they call me is worth it. Like when someone's like, "Oh, this is your number," and I'm like, "Yep, this is my number." No,
but imagine if I was just a creep.
That happens.
So I called John. I was like, "Hey man, I'm running a podcast. It's growing really, really fast. I would love to record in your space." You're like, "Okay, man, come by. No problem."
You said it was the #1 podcast in Boston.
Yeah, I wasn't lying because
Nope.
there were no other podcasts in Boston.
Fact.
So I came. You were like, "Yeah, man, sounds like people fuck with you. You should come in." I came in through this door because I didn't know anything else, and you were actually in a session here, which I haven't even seen you in a session here since.
I was in a session in this
Yeah.
room. Yeah, like probably the only time.
And everyone like looked at me. I was like, "Hey, I'm looking for John." They're like, "Oh yeah, I forgot you were coming." That you came around. I go out there and I'm in like big sales mode. I'm like, "Listen, man, just let me do this. I'll get tons of artists in here. We'll keep it cycling, do our thing." You're like, "Okay, man, no problem. See you tomorrow." All right, bro, bet.
Yeah, quick.
And then I was fucking so nervous because I was like, all right, man. He's like, give me this great opportunity. Like, I got to make sure I execute on it. The first kid I was supposed to have up here didn't come. So I actually hit up Why Try. You remember Why Try?
Yeah.
The leopard print? I hit him up, and he worked at the Middle East. I was like, yo,
Don't
bro.
fuck with him. He came. We fucked with that track.
He's going to come back and he's got a show coming up he wants to invite you to. Sorry for blowing your cover, man. He was like, yeah, man. He's like, is there anyone like that's like making big moves in the scene I can try to get to my show? I was like, yeah, bro. And you just go by the studio, ask John. But I got Why Try over here. Then we actually ran the first one we ran a couple in the tight little red room.
Yeah. Tried a cool look, but it's so small.
Tight, just too tight.
Small.
And then yeah, man. I've probably been on your ass a bunch, just like texting you nonstop. But
You're in the studio group chat.
I'm a part of the family
it's
now, man.
official.
I still get locked out in the morning.
Yep.
But I still come on in. I get the work done. I do work, and we're here. But I think more than anything that I picked up when we have just talked a bunch is like, yo, you really fucking dogged this place. And if there's anything we can get out of it, I want you to at least be completely transparent about how this started and what it fucking took to get where you're at. Because there's no glamour in it. It's like a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. All right. So basically, I'll start from the very, very beginning.
First off, you are now 29.
I'm 29. My first interaction with the studio was when I was 19 or 20, 19, about to turn 20. I was in a band called the Jamie Alamurad Band. They were a Northeastern band. I was at Berkeley, played guitar. We did a battle of the bands in Worcester that somehow we won. We definitely weren't the best band, but we got studio time at Time Bomb Studios, which is where we are now.
This was formerly known as Time Bomb.
I think, 9 years ago
Okay.
now. 9-10 years ago. And David ran the studio then. He saw that I could do Pro Tools and stuff because I came in, recorded my own guitars because we were running low on time. Did a bunch of other like editing.
Did it look like this when you initially come in?
No, it definitely was different. The room layout was similar. There was no window, and there was no hall, so you had to kind of go through this whole space.
But the A room was still there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The A room was there, but it was like vomit green. It was like yuck. Super, super green, like for green screen green.
And if you guys on Instagram now, you've probably seen a bunch of these clips and like other artists in here that's known for like the red and purple walls.
Yeah.
So that was something you had adopted afterwards.
Yeah. No, we experimented with a bunch of I've done so many things over and redone them again. It was like yellow and orange and red, and the yellow looked terrible, and so then we did red and purple. But the colors have changed quite a bit So
I feel like the red's always kind of been here though. Right?
yeah, no, the red has been like the
staple.
only stable color. Yeah.
So you're like 20 years old.
So I'm
You're
20 years
Battle of
old.
the Bands.
I'm an intern after he, fucks with me because I can do some of my own recording with my band. Start helping him out. He asked me to move in with him and the studio manager and the studio assistant. And so we lived together for a year. And
Here?
then, no, at a place like
An apartment.
just like walking distance, which was awesome.
And
So I was
you're going
school,
to Berkeley
still
at
going
the
to
time.
school, still doing this. But then I got fired for some bullshit.
Why? What happened?
He was overworked and couldn't remember that I told him I wasn't coming in the next day. And then like 8 p.m. the next day called me and was like, "Yo, where were you?" And I was like, "I told you I wasn't coming in."
And what were you doing at the time? You were just engineering?
Yeah, just being like an assistant engineer, so
Word.
helping more than being like the
Like an intern
lead
you'd have
ever.
now.
Yeah, like my assistant Josh.
Okay.
Now, like the number 2.
Okay, so you were like his little prodigy.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Like learning and trying to do everything to like help his hands when he was working too much.
And he was good at.
He was very
engineering?
good. No, David's super talented and could mix his ass off.
Mm-hmm.
Worked with a lot of punk bands. Worked with a lot of metal bands. Got to learn all that shit. Like that's
So
where I got my chops up.
So this is what, like 2011?
2010, and then 2011 I'm
Way
away
back.
from the studio. 2012 I get the call saying.
Well, what's 2011? You're
2011 is just when I'm in school but not an intern.
just fucking around being a college kid.
Just being a college kid, just back to normal. And then David called me and said he was quitting the studio, and
Big Hollywood John. Watch out.
It was an MA though. I thought it was Atlanta. Then I might have had to pick up. So
Big Hollywood.
So David calls me and says that he's going back to New York, and do I want to start a studio? And I'm like, yeah, I do.
You're 21.
I'm 21 at the time. No, I'm 22. But either way, I asked my brother what I should do. He said I shouldn't do it because I, just have how much money I have to make just to break even every month.
Wait, so sorry. So Dave's saying like, "Hey, I'm giving up the studio.
Yeah.
I want to give it to someone I think could actually take care of it."
Yeah, or he was trying to sell some of the soundproofing that was inside that he was going to take with him otherwise.
Was Dave big
and
desperate,
so
man?
I-
He tried to flip it on a 21-year-old kid.
I mean, he knew that I had my dad paying for school and stuff, and that if anyone was going to help me start the studio, it would be him. So
he was aware of your relationship with your pops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So then I talked to my brother. He said I shouldn't do it.
Older brother.
Talked to some other people, and just got like mixed feedback. But I was pretty motivated to do something big. I was trying to win back my girl and figure out what to do with a music degree. Which I was working on getting, which is
So you were in a point
pretty
where you were like,
pointless.
you were confused as fuck, right? It's still on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
So you were like, fuck.
Yeah, it was definitely like this is a big fucking fork in the road decision because I'd have to drop out of school to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I eventually decided
one more
to
time.
do
This
it.
is your wifey from Phoenix.
Yep.
And your current wife.
This is my current wife.
Look at
Yeah.
that Hollywood story, man. Huh?
Yep.
That's
No,
crazy.
but at the time we were broken up. We weren't together.
Okay.
But we'd still talk and stuff. We were still in love. It was just long distance and shit figuring.
Oh, she was still in Arizona and you were in Boston?
She was in Tucson, Arizona, and then Louisiana, and then Texas. So
Yeah, so you're opposite
all
sides of
over.
the country.
Yep, 1,000 miles away. But we eventually, made it work. So once I had the studio,
You can look close. He's got a ring on his finger, man.
Yep.
Also married, mad young. We'll talk about that after the
I have 25.
saga. How old are you, bro?
24.
Imagine getting married right now. Holy shit. Oh, you're thinking about it? You're sick. You're both sick.
I've been there. I'm not gonna lie. I've been there.
You're both sick.
I saw that. I was like, you don't have a sympathizer with him.
Oh my god.
That was dope.
Okay, so you're 21. Dave is like, yo, man, I need some bread, bro. He says, hey, young John, you did not look like this at the time, right?
No,
You were bigger.
a little bit.
Also, another crazy fact about Johnny. He's like, yeah, man, you met me about 7 months ago. I was 50 pounds heavier. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yep.
This guy's nuts.
Yep, quit drinking and lost 50 pounds in like 9 months.
You clean the diet up? I was going to say, I seen you eat Taco Bell and McDonald's. Okay. All right.
Everything else is the same.
So all right, so yeah, continue. You're 21, studio's in your hands.
So yeah, I start the studio. I have to finish school, so there's like a month of overlap, and then I'm going to visit, my girl Caitlin in Louisiana and trying to, get back together with her. So I have a couple things going on that summer. We tear down all the walls, put in all the insulation. It's every day, 9 a.m. Like as soon as the sun's up, we're at the studio working, and then we work until like, your arms are so tired that you can't do it. You have insulation in your eyes, you're itching every day. It's like the most, like if you ever interview Max again, ask him about how hard it was to do this room.
I was here for it, yeah.
It almost drove him crazy. Like I regret having him do so much of it because it was it's like it gets to people, especially the insulation.
Wait, what walls did you rip down?
Every single one. So every single one except once you get past, this outer wall,
The red wall.
and then not the walls inside my room, but all the other ones.
So there were a bunch of walls
this
in here and
one,
shit.
This one, the next one, the hallway one, all of them didn't have the right type of soundproofing.
So you were on some shit where you were like, I need to rip this all down, then build it back up, kind of?
Yeah, because I had 2 partners at the time who were going to do the studio with me because I didn't think I could start a studio on my own. So I had Jose and I had Phil. Phil is a great woodworker, and so he really we worked out a deal to where he could use the room for a while once we did build it, and he would help us do all of the construction and shit. So he was the lead man on that. Got it done real fast. We got it done in like 2-3 months, and then the studio was open in September, and it was dead empty. I was like,
So you built it, hand built everything. You didn't have
everything except for my room that's over there, was
Yeah, but you've
was
also,
started
like,
over
put
from
shit in
scratch.
there.
We did carpet in all the rooms. We did floors. We did everything. Some of the stuff, like the floors, happened over time. Key got us the floors. Shout out to Key. And that, I think that was in like 2013. So it's like everything's been incremental. These floors happened in 2014, but there was new carpet before that.
And if you guys come in here, which I recommend you do, obligatory plug, which I make in every podcast. I know you probably don't have time to watch them all, but I say, hey, man, you come in here with awful music, you'll leave with good music. You come in here with great music, you'll leave on the charts.
Facts.
Marketing. You'll see the studio is definitely like, you can tell it was like hand built and makeshift, which is like, I kind of think it's part of the appeal of the space.
Yeah, it makes it. It's got a little bit of vibe to it.
It's classic.
And there's definitely some things that you're like, yeah, something's like
John,
lean in every once in a while, but we try to level it off as best we can. It's just trying to be appealing to the eye.
John's also OCD about the space.
Yeah, a little bit.
I told John, tell us in the comments if I think you should get a decal sticker right there.
Put a vote on.
Don't you think so? Every video that mind you, I'm putting out videos like 5 times a week. We just put a at Phoenix Down decal sticker right there. So every single.
Or we could just put like get a little bit bigger TV. Just put like an animation with some of the hypnotism shit, so people just like have to come to Phoenix Down.
Oh.
You know any people to do that?
Oh.
Like the subliminals.
Oh. This guy's a genius.
I just do non-subliminals. Phoenix Down. Come to Phoenix Down.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I'm wearing this every episode, man.
Yeah. What's the opposite of a subliminal?
In your face, punch you in the mouth.
There you go.
Nice.
Punch you in the mouth.
All right, so you are now 21. You win your shorty back at this point?
So once I started the studio, that was in September. Me and my wife got back together that December. So it was about, less than a year after starting the studio, which was amazing 'cause it was a struggle.
Without her.
Definitely. Like, she came and I had a band come, so I really got to like show her, the best of what it is to work at a studio and like why I love it. And, working with people is so much fun, especially bands. It's like such a funny dynamic, and all of them are so.
And there's chaos left, right? It's always going on.
Yeah, and people are always like, they're just telling you dirt about other people that you're like, yo, you need to like have them like redo this. It's like, you don't want to do it, but you're gonna make them.
Yeah, you pick up on a bunch here.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Actually, before we fast forward, just note he built this studio with his own hands, with 2 partners, completely on his own.
We went to Home Depot, we didn't pay anybody to do any construction.
With no...
We installed this window ourselves.
Like...
Holding the thing, praying to God we didn't, like, cut our fingers when we were moving.
And, like, out of just, like... I mean, you must have been a hopeful fucking thinker. You're like, I'm going to build this studio up.
I'm a risk taker.
Oh, for sure. Impulse the best. I think you make the best decision on impulse, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
100%.
I just think of like what it could be versus like what it would feel like to have said no to that opportunity and be like wondering about it for a long time. Especially something like this where it's like no one's ever going to be like, yo, John, do you want to take over my studio? That's literally a once in a lifetime call. Like that's not going to happen again. I'm not expecting that call.
Well, it paid off, man.
Yeah.
And so...
First 2 years though, very, very little money. Took a long time to get to the point where, I was even like when me and my fiance at the time, Caitlin, were like talking about where we were going to live. I was going to move to Texas because the studio wasn't doing well enough. And then I was going to shut it down January 2015. Got some money from my grandma for Christmas. It was like $1,000 more than I expected having at the time, and it was
when
just
you're starting
enough.
A business, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it was just enough to pay rent. So I had enough saved up from the last month that I made, and my dad was telling me to take that money and put down a down payment on an apartment, give my landlord notice.
So you were living here at the time?
No, I had a spot a little bit of ways that my friend was letting me sublet. But super cheap, like $300 a month. I think he'd let me.
It didn't dawn you to sleep here though in the stew.
I mean, there's just so many nights where you sleep here anyway because you're just working so much.
Oh yeah. Okay, wait. So you fast forwarded too much. So it's December. I'm saying what 2011.
Yeah. No, it's December.
When your wife gets back with you.
That's 2012.
Okay.
And then 2014 or 2015, that January, I'm about to close the studio, but don't want to give my landlord notice, don't want to move all my stuff out. It'd be such a pain in the ass.
So what was it like?
Were you so much physical stuff to move?
So at the start, how were you marketing the business? Like, hey man, I just got this brand new studio.
I was afraid to go out and just like meet people all the time. I was not like waiting for people to come to me, but we had done a bunch of other stuff, and I had people who were like distributing, like flyers and stuff, and we were marketing more to bands. It just so happened that like somebody found a flyer or like a forum post or something. Seth, shout out to Seth, first of the first, literally like, one of the guys who started it for me. He introduced me to Mo, who introduced me to a bunch of other people like Lex. And
these are clients?
These are like day one clients, especially my hip hop like clients.
Shout out to Lex
and so like
Mo.
Once they were like, yo, you have a fucking dope studio, and to me it wasn't, because there was so much improvement to be done, but like they'd been recording out of like home studios, and so it was definitely a big upgrade for them sound wise and space wise. And so they slowly introduced me to clientele who, like, a lot of people didn't want to share it with people because they wanted to keep it for themselves. But then I was telling people, like, yo, I'm going to quit. Like, the studio's going to be closing down if I don't get more business. So, like, if you've been holding back on telling people, like, now's the time to stop.
Okay. Yeah, so I know what you're saying. So people are like, oh, this is a little gem of a spot. We don't want it to get too popular type thing.
Yeah.
And was it a gem because of the appeal of the space, or was your engineering kicked there?
By that point, my engineering was pretty good. So stuff was sounding good. Okay. It took a couple years for that to happen. Like the very first project I did here sounded pretty good, and then because the band was so good. But then after that, it was a struggle. Like Berkeley taught me how to, what I was gonna learn, but it wasn't enough to actually, master any of that stuff. You have to go through the hours.
I think one thing Berkeley probably didn't teach you is like how to, and it kind of sounds like your dad probably had some sort of did some sort of business, right?
He has a structural engineering firm.
Okay. So he has a sense
a
of business sense.
Yeah.
I doubt Berkeley taught you how to operate a business. They teach you how to make the music, but they're not going to teach you.
They don't teach you how to deal with clients usually.
That's a kind of, would you say 30-40% of the equation?
If not a little bit more. Like, as running a business, it might be 50%.
More, man.
Yeah.
If you can deal with people,
but
I
think I could still be pretty busy and make, great money and have very, very little business sense. Like, if I just...
Well, it's because your craft is so good.
At this point. Like, if I were to quit all the business sense stuff and, not clean and not do any of the other stuff that makes it professional, I could still clean up. But you can't get those next level. You can't get dope people to come in.
John doesn't want to say anything, but I was here the other night and around the corner, and Max was like, "Yo, bro, Snoop Dogg is coming to the studio tonight."
No, it happened for real.
Sick, man. So
we
sick.
thought he was coming at like 4:00, and then he didn't come. And we're like, all right, yeah. But and we get the call all the time that somebody big's coming, but a lot of times it doesn't happen because people have different schedules or whatever comes up. People who are saying that someone's coming haven't even contacted the person. They're just like praying and hoping and playing their cards.
That's one thing you told me when it actually started. Mind you, I'd come from like a background where I did everything on my own.
Yeah,
wasn't really like this with people. I mean, I was doing shows and stuff in concerts, but you were like, "Yeah, bro, if money isn't bound into the equation, you said until I rose my price, people were more accountable."
Yeah.
That's real shit.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you get people who care more and who are more serious because they respect their time even more.
John's referring to his hourly rate.
Yeah, like the clientele the clientele change that happened when I increased my rates was like, I thought that I would be getting some people who were like more willing to. I was worried about getting people who were just like going to waste their money but had a bunch of money to spend, and it really wasn't that. It wasn't different in how much money people had. It was how committed people were.
Yeah.
Because if you're really willing to work for this shit and you smoke weed and you're spending $40 every couple of days on a bag, you can get studio time every week.
I know.
If you change your habits a little bit. If it's not
weed's
weed
expensive.
for you, weed's so pricey. I hate that shit.
I know, and also like, I think there's a sense, and I want to make sure I get back to you counting the whole story, but there's also a sense like, oh, yo, I'm working with John, and this isn't even a dick swing for you, but like, I better make sure that I utilize all my time in the studio.
It's definitely been more of that since I've worked with Jeezy and been on Billboard and had some like big credits.
My fault.
You're good. Before that, people were excited because of the space and maybe they had heard of me, but it wasn't. I didn't have any clout, as you would say.
Clout.
Like now, people want to take pictures with me, and that's weird. That's a little weird.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, why do you want to take?
I can only imagine.
That's
Wait
cool.
till I tell my
You take a
cousin
picture.
I met you.
Say again.
I said, wait till I tell my cousin I met you.
Why he
Oh,
loves
yeah.
it? He loves Jeezy.
What? Yeah.
Fire.
It's sick.
Yeah, it's crazy how like connected, Jeezy and some other artists that I've worked with are with certain people in certain parts of their life, that when they find out that they have like questions and they just want to know certain things, and it's like, oh wow, like people are invested in like art and culture and knowing and having like these like.
That's not really it though. It's people love attention.
That too, but like a lot of these people that I'm talking about like are like more of like even my sister's age, where they're like 10 years, 7 years older than me, and they've been to the concerts and stuff, and they're not one of my clients. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like I have something.
You're talking like an old white chick, kind of like a middle-aged white woman.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
definitely has happened where like that'll just be like a conversation
That's
topic, and
hilarious.
they'll have like a story about being in high school and having some one of their friends getting kicked out of school, or like a bunch of people going to the principal's office for wearing a Jeezy shirt. Like,
Well, he's been around though too.
Yeah.
You feel me?
so many people have told me that story, that they got kicked out of school, or they went to the first day of school wearing a Jeezy shirt
He just
on the
started
bus, and then the kid on the bus was like, "Yo, you gotta flip your shirt inside out, like before you get out." Like, I'm telling you.
That's 'cause
And then
Trap
someone
was
in
so,
front
like-
of them got sent to the principal's office wearing a Jeezy shirt, and he was like, "Thanks, bro." They were friends for the rest of their life.
That's hilarious. Well, that's because Trap was so like controversial at the time, right?
Yeah.
What was it? So icy. That was like the Gucci and.
It was just all the cocaine analogies, Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're so mind you, you're at the point now. What's like your day to day like when you're dogging it? And I know probably at the time you're like when the 1 year, 2 year loop period where it's starting up. Your business is starting. I want you to be like very.
What's my day to day?
I want you to be specific about like what you were doing every day. Because there are people in the grind right now that are going through some bullshit that there's grass on the other side.
So I'm gonna be real. The grind. If I knew how to grind marketing myself in the beginning, like I did know how to grind just doing something that needed to get done, like moving a pile of wood somewhere, nailing something in, drilling stuff in, that kind of work where it's just like there's a lot of it, but I know exactly what it is to do. I was willing to do it and knew what it was. The other stuff caused me paralysis. Like, I would wake up and just not know what to do. I'd be stuck. I would pray that my clients that did schedule didn't come in because for whatever reason, and because sometimes they wouldn't, and then the anxiety is like, oh, are they gonna come in? Are they not gonna come in? I would just like
You didn't want them to come?
Sometimes, like, backwards thinking. Like, I remember thinking that. Like, and now I think I want that sometimes, but for totally different reasons. Because I'm working so much,
you're
I
busy.
need a break.
Yeah.
Like, now when a client doesn't show up and they've paid, it's like, that's free money and I get a break.
Yeah, so you were big anxious for like.
Yeah.
I can only imagine, bro.
Because it was so much money every month. My dad was helping me with it. We had a timeline of like 18 months that he was going to help me with rent.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was it. And I thought
And you're
it
a
would
kid,
pick up,
man.
And,
Like, you're a
and the
kid.
other two engineers kind of bailed on me. Jose was posting stuff on me online all the time, like on Craigslist and stuff. So I'm sure I got some people through that I didn't even know about. But none of us just got clients right away so that we could make money and have both rooms working. It was really dead.
Mm-hmm.
It was the slow build, like the Seth coming in, and then meeting some people, meeting Makelands and KMGs who introduced me to Geo, that introduced me to Millie's, that introduced me to it's a tree. Like, I've always wanted to go back and make the tree of like how I met each of my 500 clients, like where they fall in line, and then like people could argue about like, no bro, I fucking introduced you to what I mean, like, because there is a pattern, and it isn't from a lot of people. Like, people are connected in this city, especially in like the hip hop stuff, so like you can't go more than like 3 people.
It's a very small community.
You can't go past 3 degrees out and not cover everybody, not cover every single hip hop artist.
I know. And what's crazy is I learned that after the show started, because now I realize, wow, like I'm like real connected to like all these different pockets of people.
Dude, I'm realizing that too, because like people that I thought I knew everybody in the city because I work with everybody in the city, it seems like to me. And then you've brought in so many people that I've never worked with, and I've heard some dope music from, and I'm like, holy shit, I haven't even touched the surface, maybe.
Well, no, you definitely touched the surface.
No, maybe I've touched the surface, but I haven't gotten it all.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Power, money, respect.
All of it. Just, dude, making the whole city sound great would put the city on. People would be like, why is Boston's music just all sound good? That would be...
That's a John Scott mix, dude.
Dude, that's a dream.
Okay, so you're now like 22, 23. Studio is barely functioning.
Yeah.
And you're just like...
It's
You're smoking a ton of weed,
It's
you drinking a
functioning
lot.
at like, yeah, a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's functioning at like 33%, I would say at that point. You know,
Couple clients maybe a night.
Probably a client every day still at that point, if I was lucky. Maybe some days where there was 2, and then a great day would be a day where there was 3. But a session could be 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours, 4 hours usually tops.
So you
So
must.
I was working probably like 3 to 6 hours of of the studio a day.
And these are not the. No offense to them, the clientele you have now. These are like local acts type thing, right?
Definitely.
That just want their music mixed.
Yeah. It wasn't my first break with someone bigger was I did Crazy Bones album, and that came out in 2015.
I just heard of
Best
Crazy
Buy.
Bone for the first time because he has some beef online.
Oh,
Something like
really?
that. Right?
But you've heard of Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick. How did that happen?
He came into town. I got the call. It was after. Actually, I take that back. My first break was with Lil Chucky. I worked with Lil Chucky, and then because Lil Chucky was here, some people came through to give him some clothes and shit. Key came. I met.
Key with the exclamation point?
Actually, Key came and dropped off some shoes, but I think it was through Scoot. Scoot.
Young Scooter.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it's Young Scooter.
Is that a different person?
Yeah, it's a different person. It's like Scoot does like video production.
Right.
So he was doing some video stuff for the artist that had booked Lil Chucky as the feature. Lil Chucky heard what I could do. Then his manager was like, "Yo, can Lil Chucky get some free studio time for like a week?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I did his shit for a week. That was a great experience. It was like definitely a level up in terms of like.
For free. You did it for free, right?
Yep. I did the first ones for free.
Kids, listen.
Yeah, whatever.
There's
it was gonna
opportunity
take.
not always tied to the bag, man.
Totally not, because like you get clients from clients. I look at one client as my next 5. So a big client is like the next 50.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if anything.
Well, I'm sure it probably equated when you started doing the Jeezy work for sure.
Definitely, it worked like that. But even with the little Chucky stuff, it was high quality enough and had more streams, and it had real features, like when it was on the Breakfast Club, or it wasn't on the Breakfast Club, but it was on Sway in the morning. So like that. So
you felt connected, like big industry at that point.
That was the first time my stuff had gotten played on a radio.
It was
a radio
2015?
show like that. I think that was 2015 or no, I think that was 2014, and then Crazy Bone was 2015.
So there was a solid like year and a half where no light at the end of the tunnel type thing.
At the very beginning, no light, some light towards the middle, but even like
What were like the little breaks where you're like, okay, this might be working?
When I made, so really it all comes down to when I was about to close, because I had enough money to where I could get a down payment on the apartment, or I could pay rent, and I decided to pay rent because I didn't want to move all the stuff out, and I'd rather just like go totally broke than play it safe for one more month, because
Crash and burn.
I would rather
Captain down with the shit.
rather crash and burn than move all the stuff out. I just did not want to do that. Only lost $500 that January, so I still had enough to pay rent, because I had that $1,000. Then February that year didn't lose any money, and then March was the first time that I made $500. So that was like that was the progression.
That's what month? Like 15, month 16?
Yep. Basically, it was my dad had set up 18 months, and we were at 18 in November, so it was like month 19, 20, 21. So it was right after my dad had cut me off. So maybe that was the biggest push. It was like just having to pay for everything myself, no matter what, meant that I was just like I definitely smoked a lot less. Definitely, didn't buy any. Would try to have people, mooch off people if they brought something and wait.
Word.
Like I think that's good motivation.
You felt like you were getting a little smarter every month with how to operate it?
Especially after the pressure was on like that, especially when I was thinking I was going to be moving to Texas, and I was like just desperately like, how do I fix this situation? How do I make it so that I can convince Caitlin to that this is going to work? And it wasn't looking like it was going to be worth it, so it was tough. And then showed a little bit of an uptick, and I had, you know, enough money and enough growth to show like some projections, and we did 5-year projections on it. And then we looked at year 5, and year 5 was the first year where the projections showed that we would make like $10,000 more than if we stayed in Texas, where Caitlin had a scholarship and a job that was paying her good money, and like, you know, all this other shit. So it was a calculated decision, but we hit those 5-year projections in like year 2.
Yeah.
So like now we're like
Wait,
way beyond
dope.
the projections.
How much at the? So one thing I just want to make a note of is, so John was effectively running a failing business for nearly 2 years.
Yeah, and I didn't know at the time, but it takes business. It like
5 years sometimes.
Yeah, but 2 years is like the average for when you start making a profit.
Well,
And my dad didn't know that either. That's why when you were asking me the question before about like my dad is not business savvy. He's a engineer, you know.
Oh, so he's a computer guy.
No, he's
Science, math guy.
paper on huge drawings guy.
Oh, word. Okay.
Yeah, like a structural engineer.
Word.
He would have been an architect, but he wasn't very good at drawing.
Yeah.
His words.
So that so just note, like, he was kind of in society's eyes at the time, like, you would have been deemed as a loser. And now he's a big winner
Big winner.
because of hope.
Yeah. I don't like the winner now that Trump uses it all the time. But
Winning.
Yeah. But oh, yeah, that's the worst. Winning.
Wins are dope, though.
Yeah, wins are dope.
Wins are huge.
No, and getting the bag is dope, too.
The bag's
seeing
sick.
Seeing hard work pay off feels amazing.
And it didn't happen like you thought it would, right?
No, it definitely didn't. Not when the turnaround happened, but once I was here and my wife was going to school, then I knew what the plan was, and that was to get someone big to see what I could do and to get out, like to be able to expand and, like, you know, eventually live in LA or
So you were always
Phoenix.
fishing for like a big opportunity.
I
like
just
that.
know that Boston doesn't have right now, at
The
least,
market.
the infrastructure for the music industry to be seen or to just build the credits that I would have to literally break somebody from here to have it blow up. Whereas in LA, you could be an engineer studio and just so happen to have 2-3 gold records that you could get because you recorded them, you know, over the course of 4 months. Like, you
Mhm.
might record a bunch of people and have a bunch of gold records, but not actually have a bunch of skill or a
So the
bunch of
marketing
input.
is.
It's just a different
There's
game.
no
When you're
market here.
actually in the industry, you can get some of the things that, you know, people seem to think show what your skill is, like the gold records and stuff. But I think the
Charts.
advantage was that owning my own studio meant that I was doing all of the work. I was doing all of the mixing. There weren't other engineers coming in that, you know, were doing the big shot stuff. It was
All you.
It was all me. So I got all the experience points, all the XP.
The XP.
Yeah.
All the stats.
Yep.
The 2K. Yeah. Well, so it's just like interesting. You're not traditionally. You wouldn't be deemed as an entrepreneur, but you are. You know, you're like totally clear cut entrepreneur, right?
Definitely now.
Now you realize it. At the time, did you realize like I'm just an engineer trying to run a studio type thing?
I read something that said, like, if when you leave, you don't still make money, it's a job, not a business. And that really became apparent this last year. I took 100 flights in the last year working with Jeezy. So I was out of the studio like almost 200 days. Like, the majority of the year I was gone.
What project was it?
It's TM104. It's coming out soon.
Word.
So
Jeezy, he's doing free marketing for you, man.
hell yeah. Jeezy, I was on your top streaming list or something on Instagram. I was on the trending Jeezy.
Let's
thing.
go.
Yeah, it was fire.
That's dope.
I got my first 1,000 likes on a post.
Listen, man, likes don't matter.
Dude, 1K. That 1K. I was like, what happened to all my
oh,
likes?
what was it?
And
What was
like
it?
one.
Oh, was that the Breakfast Club
Yeah.
snippet? Oh yeah, I mean everyone sees that. See,
Have
that's
you seen it though? Have you heard the story after it?
No, I
It's
only saw a
about
clip.
me and my wife. It's about him getting like me and my wife like car reservation and dope dinner and a hotel like suite
Whoa.
and shit. Like, it was fire. It's a dope story.
Well, yeah. I think one thing. So how important was like your wife's approval in like kind of winning your shorty back to your grind? Because I'm realizing now, I'm like, damn, bro. Dudes are very inadvertently driven to impress women.
Definitely.
Like very subconsciously, but every dude is kind of driven by it.
Well, I mean, we had some like codependency issues, and so like part of it was that I just needed to make sure that even if I didn't end up with my wife, that I was okay, that I was doing something that I loved, that, you know, like I was looking at it both ways just in case, but I knew that this is what we were looking for in order for us to like, you know, get back together, something that I could do on my own.
Yeah, but you wanted to
just
impress
felt
her at
like,
points, right?
Absolutely.
That's
Let's be
great.
real.
It's real shit, though.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, that was a big part. And this, I didn't have as big of dreams as this, and the studio could very well, without all of the work we, like, you know, put into it, be a lot less impressive or successful. But when I was 14 and I just started music, I just wanted, you know, by the time I was like 40, I said to myself, I want to be making enough money so I could have like a nice recording studio in my basement.
You beat it by like 15 years, man.
Yeah, and a way bigger setup.
Dope.
Yeah.
So dope.
Yeah, way bigger.
I just think
I just didn't think you could make money in music, and I think that's a lie.
You can make big bags.
There's so much money in entertainment. People pay people pay $10 a month like they do for Netflix. Like that's enough over time. Like people are back to spending money. Like I think some of the prices on streaming services could come up if it means that artists will make a more fair wage per stream.
Why, you think they're getting cheated right now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it needs to be a little bit more.
They just don't know how to calculate like a physical to a. They probably do. They're just saying they don't.
But physicals don't exist anymore. Music was never really physical.
I know, but what I'm saying is
sound.
that was the math behind it. Like one physical is X amount. You know what I'm saying?
And I still think they have to do that math because it's always going to equate if people are selling, like especially now, vinyls and tapes are popular.
Well, I think one thing people don't also get, and you could probably speak on this too, is like, I totally get that the artist has the right to the creative side of everything, but publicists and marketing teams put in crazy fucking work for artists.
Yeah.
It's not just like they're sitting on their ass and they're just eating. No, they're building artists up.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that firsthand, right?
I definitely have seen it. I think that some people feel like it's easier for them to be predatory because a lot of times it's long distance and it's based on connections and stuff that's, you know, that they literally couldn't do, and it seems like some of it's like an email, but that's just what it looks like on the inside of like anything that someone really doesn't do it. Like people sometimes will ask me, they're like, so what are you really doing? Like someone who like literally doesn't even record, has no idea, they'll be like, it looks like you're just pressing buttons. And I'm like, that's all I do.
That's
like,
literally
that's
job.
literally the only thing you can do on a computer. I can move the mouse and I can press buttons.
Well, that was one thing you said.
But that's not that simple. Like that is
quite clearly.
But it's like the best simplification of what I do that I've ever had. Just click buttons.
Yeah. What did you say to me? You're like, yeah. You were like, my computer is my easel. It was something to the
I say
effect.
is it my musical instrument?
Oh yeah, your computer's your instrument.
Yeah. I've been saying that forever.
That's real shit, because I think a lot of people think that engineer is just like some just nerd who sits behind it. No, you got to be creative in your
Definitely.
shit.
And I definitely think I take it to a different level and try to make it into an art, and it's so much more fun that way. I encourage
Just like
all engineers to try to work while you're recording somebody, mix while you're recording somebody, have the mix done before someone leaves, save yourself the headache of getting hit up 100 times. And
you're talking like effects, gates.
Yeah, people like my clients in the beginning. A lot of them, I had one in particular. I won't put him on blast. He was an asshole, and
fuck that dude.
And he, almost punched me one time. But literally would just like be like, I don't care. Like I don't care how much time I booked. I want to leave with my track done. Like I'm like, if you booked an hour and the track is 4 verses long, I can only do so much. But back then, I really had the mindset from, Berkeley in part that, you record and then you can set up, a time and you mix. But it doesn't have to be that way. It never did. Hip hop can happen so fast that you need to be able to keep up. You need to be able to influence the art by being able to be so fast that someone can, say a line, come up with the next line, and then you've done something cool to the line before it while he did that line, is inspired to do a different line for the third line.
Yeah, that just blew my mind, not following you whatsoever.
I know. That's engineers. Good.
Yeah, okay, you're lying, bro.
When people are punching in nowadays, they don't have the whole thing written.
Well, I always see you doing shit and there's these little lines going down and
Yeah, it's a bunch of lines and colors.
Well, you totally have a mind for it, correct?
Yeah.
You always knew you had kind of a calculated type mind. Because you told me you're ADHD. I'm like, how the fuck can you be ADHD if you're literally...
Dude, it helps. It helps because whenever I get distracted or have an idea, I do it. And I'm fast enough to be able to do both. I just have to be able to remember the one idea that I have and that I'm doing at any given moment and keep it recording. And then as soon as I'm done recording, I just keep doing my ideas and hope I don't get interrupted by people. And then when I stop having...
Point at me.
And then when I stop... No, my clients usually. They'll be like, hey, I heard something. And I'm like, I heard that too. Stop.
No, I'll knock you out, dude.
Yeah, no. But some people have a perfect sense of I don't think he's going to hear that. Let me give him a note right now while it's happening. And other people want to feel like they're contributing, and other people are anxious. The anxious people are the only ones that annoy me, because I'm like, bro, I'm gonna take care of it. If you need to leave the room and
take a deep breather,
come back in 5 minutes and this track will sound good.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you and I have a different type of ADHD. What we can do once I finish editing everything, you can go play through this video and you will see where my hands are, and I'm like this and back and forth. You've been sitting like this the whole time. I just don't understand how you think you have ADHD if you're totally calculated on the most specific little details.
I have an Adderall.
Oh, shout out to the sauce.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna make it illegal soon.
I don't think so.
Why, you think that the business is too big?
No, I just think it helps a lot of people. If they made Vyvanse and Adderall illegal, it would have to be for a really good reason.
Are you off the Vyvanse or the Adderall?
Adderall.
You're off the blue Skittles or the orange Bombers?
Depends.
Oh, you switch it up.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about an ex-Adderall guy, but I have to go on an Adderall bout in a week because I have all this Scholastic stuff I got to edit. It's crazy. Have you ever tried Adderall?
When I was a kid, by accident.
Oh, really? By accident?
They drugged you?
No. My brother had.
Yeah.
So he was prescribed it. And I was a kid. I didn't know what the fuck it was. And I
You're
remember one time him saying yo, you want to stay up all night, eat one of these. And I started packing shit. Started fucking just
cleaning.
It's
all different types.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy. The drug, it's I had to stop because I just was abusing it, classic abuse. I just would, with the blue Skittles, I would just not stop because they're so small. You're oh, I don't really think it's working. Then you just keep going. You know what I'm saying? Terrible. I know you have your prescription down.
Yeah, I'm pretty
consistent.
Yeah, and I can, the other day I didn't take one, which was great.
Do you feel out of it?
That still worked for the day. Still couldn't sleep at night.
Wait, did you feel out of it when you didn't take it?
I took a 30-minute nap in the middle of the day. So I was groggy, but I wasn't musically out of it or
Well, I just mean
uninspired.
production and focus wise. You didn't feel no?
I just care so much about what I was working on that it was fine.
Yeah. So it was just
yeah.
Do you ever think it's a placebo?
Oh, it definitely has part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. You feel more motivated to work.
I don't think it's a placebo. I think I think the placebo effect influences it for sure because I'll feel it before it kicks in.
Well, I would feel it most when I wouldn't eat because you're fasted. When you're fasted, you're naturally more alert and focused anyway. Does that happen to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So the studio, we've deviated a little bit. It's 2014. You get a break with someone in the industry. When does this place start to become more prevalent? Mind you, I saw a GOD in Millie's video. They shot right out here.
I was gonna say that's when I was gonna say.
That video?
Yeah, that's what I would put like
What's the name of the video?
legacy.
Yeah, they shot it right there.
Yo, and shouts out to Fresh because Millie's hook on that. I didn't do that hook.
I forget the song.
And the hook sounds so fucking good. I don't know it. No, it's G-O-D on the hook, but he did some effect to it that I like. Maybe if I listened to it today, having it be like years later, I feel like I could recreate
Who's
it. But
Fresh?
at the time,
Another engineer?
Yeah, another engineer. One of the good ones in the city. And I just could not figure it out at the time how he got it to sound like that. But it sounds fucking amazing.
Well, it didn't look like this in the video.
No.
There was like less clutter, I guess, but it just seemed empty.
Yeah. No, this is
But
definitely still like
The wall was purple, though, right?
This is pre, 2.0.
My fault.
Status, like with how much stuff is still in our live room, but the way we had it set up before was like really like a band room where you have it like totally empty, and I wasn't really feeling that either. Like we didn't even have like
This
had
room was
just the
functional though?
couch. Yeah, this
Okay.
room was functional. I've had a few different engineers here that I was renting it out to, and then I saw DJ Khaled's studio when I was in Miami with Jeezy, and saw that he wasn't charging people for working there. Like it was his like functional spot that he just had for connections, and I.
That's what he's good at, though.
Yeah, things weren't like going well in the studio with who was running it, and the upkeep was terrible. So I just wanted to level up,
Get more people in here,
and have control over this room again, so that I could make sure the quality of it was right.
That's some sort of partner you had, right? You sound just like you guys deviated.
Yeah, and I've had 4 different people who've rented this room before,
Mm-hmm.
so.
So that when was that video? 14, 15?
2000. I want to say it's 2014.
Word. And so then this space becomes more regular for most people around here.
Yeah, and I have
This
I have
in
something to
Sound
post-
Labs,
yeah.
the enemy.
Yeah, I have like more of a, couple dope videos with some good play counts to point to, but really it's a trend. Like, and once the work is good, people don't want to go somewhere else, because whenever they do go somewhere else, it doesn't sound as good. And so then they're like, "Yo, I was with my boy and I went somewhere," or they're like, "I couldn't get time with you, and so I tried to go somewhere else and they fucked it up." And so like client retention has been a really important thing. If quality is like really not important to you, then like I'm not necessary. So every once in a while someone will just we won't
You
won't
built this.
vibe.
Well, you built this on, I would say, and if I'm being totally out of the woods here, let me know. But I think you totally built the prevalence of the studio, mostly at the start, at least, just based on your skill as an engineer.
Yeah.
He's a really, really good engineer. I've actually heard some shit. I've heard some of these raw tracks. Obviously, I won't corner anyone, but then I hear the sauce, and sauce is.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, bro, this shit
Sometimes
sounds like I could
sometimes
move
it's
this.
everything. Like without it, it wouldn't be, what it is. Like, and it's something that the tools are there for everybody now, so everything just has to sound good. Sound good. Like there's this underground SoundCloud wave of stuff that sometimes I get jealous of, because they get to do like stuff that doesn't sound good but sounds so different and unique and cool. And so like every once in a while we'll try to incorporate.
Yeah, so
some
that
of
doesn't piss you off
young
when
stuff.
shit's like not mixed and it's like big.
No, they're kids.
But that's kind of a wave.
I love that people are mixing their own stuff. I admire it.
What is it? Some shit I heard recently. I know like Smoke Perp used to. What was it? What was the song? D-Rose? You ever heard it? Like D-Rose, D-Rose, D-Rose. Just I could tell none of that shit was mixed, but I was like, I guess there is an appeal that sounds like professional.
I think there's a candidness, like
Yeah.
a less of a separation between the artist and the listener when like something is really, really raw. Like I think that's why people sometimes think their freestyles are better than their recordings.
Because it's more authentic.
Because it seems more impressive as the overall package. they're like, I freestyled this, even though I messed up a few lines and the lines altogether aren't like crazy impressive. It's impressive that I did this thing. And so it's like looking at something as a whole as opposed to trying to break down why why each individual part is like so important, or, you're saying something's really good. It's just like, what actually is the impact of something?
Yeah. But there's also, as you know, because it's your job, well-mixed music will always have a place. It's not like, I don't think it will ever outswing it.
So what I'm saying is more of like why I think people gravitate towards that at all, but the masses don't. The masses definitely do not gravitate towards that. Most people are listening to the music that's being marketed to them because they don't have time to be like searching for music, or that's just not their biggest passion. So they, kind of get what's fed to them through playlists.
That's true. I didn't even think of that.
But playlists are so good that it's not like I'm saying that's a bad thing. Like, people can put on music, and usually what people are playing is better than it used to be. It's not just like the 10 songs that your friend really is addicted to. It's like a curated experience of like a vibe of a certain years, or like, right now.
So I think one thing is, I have a lot of white friends.
Hold on, I gotta, because before what I was saying about the freestyles and how they, someone thinks that, I think what I meant to clarify is that people think that they sound better doing that, but people don't know it's a freestyle when you just put out music. You know what I mean? It's
I know
you know what I mean. I was talking about why people believe that, but I think the way more, and like, if you really want to have something be of quality and have it sound, it's got to be good on all fronts. Like,
so
it can't
too.
just be a shitty recording and have no care put into it. I think some of the people who don't know what they're mixing and will do something like a little awkward, but you can tell they're really still trying. Like, even X's stuff has some like rawness to it that I'm like, oh, they could have compressed the vocals more, or they way over compressed the vocals. You can tell they're like figuring shit out. But they care and they love it, and they're trying to do cool shit.
That was part of his appeal too, was he was so like connected to the kids and shit. Studios developed, right? Cool. You got your place in Boston. How did you get linked with Jeezy? How did you start becoming like a prevalent engineer in industry wise?
Shout out to E-Double. So DJ E-Double from Jammin'.
Really nice dude.
So DJ Folk, the A&R for Jeezy at the time, hit up E-Double asking for a recommendation for a studio because they were coming through for the tour. Said that we were the only...
Garden, House of Blues?
House of Blues, I think. And he said that we were the only spot to go to. Then Jeezy's manager, Brittany, gave me a call, said it was for a big client, asked if I had any time Tuesday. I said I was booked out for 2 weeks. And then she was like, okay, thanks, bye. And I was like, who's the client? And then she was like, it's a young Jeezy. And I was like, oh, okay, let me call you right back. So I called my clients, canceled on them, told them, what was going on. Everyone was cool. And then called her back.
What year is this?
This is 2017.
Okay, word.
Right, yeah. Is it? Wait, yeah, it's just 2019, yeah. Yep, that's 2017. Jeezy comes to the studio after, we do our normal thing, super clean, we found out all the shit that he likes that's like on his rider, all the snacks and drinks and, beverage, like,
oh, so you were ready to go.
We did a Whole Foods trip, we did the liquor store trip, we did everything.
So you were fucking like, all right, yeah, this is the one.
Yeah, I probably put like $250 into it.
Oh yeah,
just
it was worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely paid off.
So what, you like clean the whole studio?
Yep.
I saw you do that with Snoop too.
Yeah, we do that every time someone big comes. It's just like, and we really just need to finish the renovations that we're doing so that
there's no shit outside.
That there's just nothing that needs to be moved and then cleaned under.
Yeah.
But eventually, this room's a beacon of hope.
100%.
Yeah. Of what can.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice being in here. So then Jeezy shows up. We do the first track. It's trash.
Well, you say, hey, what's up, man? I'm John.
Yep, he's Jeezy, so
Yeah.
he didn't say his name. He's like, "What's up?" And
You know the deal.
We do the first track. It's terrible. I did a horrible job. I just couldn't understand what he was saying,
And you were anxious.
and I was nervous. And maybe I'm overhyping how bad it was, but we didn't use it, so it wasn't great. One thing he said, he'd be like, "Give it to me clean," and I'd be like, "What?" I'd be like, "What do you want?" And he'd be like, "Give it to me clean."
Does it just mean raw vocals?
And yeah, he just like, "Take everything off and let me do it all over again, like from scratch." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then another one was like, he'd be like, "Give me a second." And I would just wait. And he'd be like, "Yo," and I'd be like, "What? I don't know what you want me to do." He'd be like, "Give me a second layer." And I was like, "Oh." I was like, I don't know how I was supposed to know.
And that means like an ad lib. Track,
like
right?
he's trying to do like a double.
Yeah.
So like once I figured out the language that he was using for, dubs, ends, ad libs, hype, all the
you guys
different
gotta get to
words
know each other type
people
shit.
use, and people definitely all use different words, and you just have to figure out what someone means and then remember, especially for the next time you work with them. Everyone has different like preferences. It's like a little thing you just like remember. I should keep a folder. But then we did the second track. It was dope. Did a third track or fourth track.
All in one night.
All in one night. He was loving it. Then when he left, he said that was fucking dope. And his A&R asked me if I was available to do sessions in New York, because he said he wanted me to go up there because they don't have like a reliable engineer.
You're like,
up there
fuck
either.
yeah.
And I was like, yes, sir, I can do that. So they got
That's
me
a
a train
dunk.
ticket, got me a hotel. Finally got that was like my first taste of like
The life.
of that.
What? So they
Oh
hooked you
my
up?
God, such good experiences actually remembering that.
So what? They hooked you up with like a car service? to,
No,
like,
I
a nice
didn't need a
hotel?
car, but like I got a train up to New York, stayed at the hotel.
He's not taking trains now.
I'm not. And we went to Quad Studio. We went to the engine room or the machine factory or something, one of those two. And
So Jeezy was your first big client,
or
or was there someone before it?
Crazy Bones album was out in Best Buy, but it definitely isn't.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
I didn't know if there was a stepping stone.
There was an increase in the like day one numbers for sure on the albums if you compare them.
Okay, word. So you're like kind of just bouncing around with Jeezy. Like, all right, he's here.
So we did New York. I killed it in New York. Did a bunch of mixes.
Well, you were probably so ready for it. You're like,
I was so amped, ready for it. Like, gun it. If I had the hard drives, I would have had like the whole thing mixed. Like,
well, yeah, but you were like,
they were testing me out. I was getting the.
well, no, not that. I'm just saying, like, yo, you'd already been through so much fucking shit building this motherfucker.
Dude, I was so ready. I'd waited and been let down.
Been very
by
patient.
so many big artists, and I will not say any of their names right now.
Very patient.
But yeah, you just have to be, and it's not. Yeah, it's obviously not personal because they don't know me yet. Until someone gives me the shot, and once someone gives me the shot, everyone that I've worked with that's big has said that I'm dope.
To go.
Yeah, Snoop's manager called me and said I was the truth this morning, so I was super hyped. Hopefully we'll get to work some more.
Shout out Snoop. I didn't get to meet you, man, but it'd be cool to meet you. So I'm just trying to write it up as cinematic as I can. So you like dogged the studio, barely got by, scrape, smash, bam. You sure he doesn't really fuck with you, kept building it, right? Then you build it into a semi prevalent studio in Boston. You're obviously a great engineer. The studio is not that prevalent. Then you get the alley dunk from Jeezy, right? So this is like 2 years ago. And then you'd say that's probably kind of a defining moment of you turning into like more of like, yeah, okay, I'll fly out there and work with that person, this, that.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like that's like a life changer.
Definitely. That was like the break.
And so now how frequently have you been leaving? It hasn't been for like a month, but like, actually, no, you were just in Arizona.
Last year, I took about 100 flights.
Exclusively working with Jeezy?
Like 96 of them, at least I guess, were from Jeezy.
Dope.
Yeah.
And fun, right?
Yeah. I got to work out of a mansion one time, and like the, theater room they had, we like set up soundproofing and
You said
shit.
you were in Michael Jackson's studio?
We worked at Michael Jackson too.
Sick.
Shout out to Westlake if anyone from Westlake sees this.
Sick.
I have made a bunch of friends there. Like, I love LA too.
Sick.
It's dope.
Um,
It's been a really cool experience. I got to see Usher at the studio. Like, Jeezy was with Usher, and
well, you said
he,
studios are run way different out there, right? Isn't like a studio's like a
better.
megaplex?
they're just like,
Hey, no, we're marketing
so
for the studio.
dope.
They're not as good.
They're so well run, but they don't sound as good as me.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's just who's in there. Like, a studio's not as good as the equipment. A studio's as good as who's running it. You know what I mean? Like, if the equipment is of standard, everyone who's good is going to be able to make something sound amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't matter if you have the best billion-dollar studio. If you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to be able to make something sound good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to bring some of the studio sauce from out there back over here.
Yeah, like the runners.
And I'm just going to warn everybody. I understand that this show is now growing. Hope you get a good sense of who I am. Kind of a psychotic worker in a different note than John, but I'm obsessed with it. I think this studio is going to be so disgustingly big in 7 months. 6-7 months. I just think it's going to be like a beacon hotspot.
I'm going to make it happen.
You never marketed it. Just toss me the ball. Just let me slam it.
Let's do it. I might just do that.
I just think there's such an appeal to the space now, not only because you're the engineer running it, I just think it has so much character. And I think when you walked in, couldn't you kind of feel it? You're like, yo, this is...
I'm not gonna lie, I grew up on this shit, so it's like graffiti art like that. I've always wanted to be in like a really, really professional studio.
But that's what I'm saying. It's
Before, but this, when you come in, it's like, okay, even the smell, you know,
the subtle kush.
everything, it's like, all right, yeah, this is a fucking studio.
Yeah,
You can tell.
but my thing is, like, I've been in professional ass studio settings too. I think 30 times out of 40, you'd rather people come in 40 times out of 30, excuse me. But I think you would rather come into a studio like this where you're not being forced to act over professional.
Yeah.
But you come in here and you feel comfortable and you're like, okay, I can get work done here. There's no real pressure on me to get it done, but I do need to come in here and get shit done.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a balance of vibe and professionalism, because you don't want to make it like clinical and cold.
But you know that's just a direct reflection of your brain and your thoughts, this whole place.
Yeah. And the functions that our clients need and my time that's available and how much people are asking of my time, it's difficult for me to make some of the decisions that would, like, allow me to make it more like a place like that.
But you don't want that.
I eventually want it to be set up like that, but while I'm here, I don't know if I can do it like that, because people just need work, and I love my clients. I want to take care of them. I want, the right music to happen.
But you're spread crazy.
But
Psychotically thin.
people just need to book ahead and not call me. Go to the website.
Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah. Plug that right now. Tell people what they have to do to get their shit.
phoenixdown.simplybook.me. We'll
Yeah.
put the little thing when I say it.
Yeah, I will. Well, I put it in every episode.
Hell yeah.
See, John hasn't even seen an episode.
I haven't watched a whole episode. I don't have time.
I know, it's crazy. Well, I think
I've seen an episode on mute, but like it stays the same for a lot of it. So I'm like, I've seen the episode now.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. That's another thing. Like, yo, you are effectively running a business, and you're also running your own business. So, like, fuck, man.
I'm running my career and my business.
That's
like
a lot of shit, and especially when this. So, are you ever out in LA? You're like, yo, what if the studio, like, there's a fire?
Yo, I've had someone call me and say there's a fire at the studio while I was out in LA.
Was there a fire?
No.
He was fucking around?
Yeah.
Oh, so you wanted to choke slam him. Pissed. So pissed.
Yo.
I would have been tight.
You don't know.
Not again.
Yo, I almost kicked his ass when he came back.
Honestly.
And he thought it was still funny still, and I was like, yo, I was like, make another joke about it and see what I do. And he was like, and I was like, leave. I just like made him walk out right then. He was like said one. I was like say one more word, and he said one more word. I was out of here.
Well, that's what people don't get. Like this shit is you're
I let him
effectively
come back though.
Yeah. Oh, he's back.
No, he's a good guy. He was just being an asshole.
Well, this is effectively your livelihood. Like, I just can't imagine what it's like when you're on all these trips and you're like, okay, back home, I have this fucking thing I built, and now I can't really do much. People can check in with me, but I can't do a whole lot. And I don't want anyone to be vulnerable. The studio's not vulnerable. You got to come through Big Bochi.
Yeah, no, the cameras are definitely like the way that I check on the studio and like make sure that, just like my worst fears of everything, being on fire.
That you have it on your
just,
phone,
like,
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like that helps. And it usually just makes me happy when I do check, because then I'm just like, oh, dope. There's like sessions going on, and I'm like, oh, Tony's here. Like, it's usually gratifying to see what's happened, because a lot of this year, I would have made more money this year if I had just closed the studio, because I was gone so much. But and
it's
so
a
much
long-term investment, though.
And exactly, that would be crazy. That'd be the stupidest thing. But I needed to figure out how to turn this into a business really, and get enough people involved in a short period of time, because I didn't know when the next time I was going to be called out was. So I had like a 1 month period where I didn't get called out and did a lot of shit, including like getting you involved.
What a
and
bucket.
Then, yep, and then and then I was called away for another 3 weeks or whatever, and then when I was back, it was like back to go time, like, because I just never know how long it's gonna be before it like kicks back on, and then I'm gone a lot.
Yeah, so that's like the nature of your life is like, right now at least. I mean, you're probably still figuring out the balance.
Yeah, and I really want to get the studio here to be so functional that I never have to get a call about something, so that everyone's just happy, and it never feels like that I'm missing, from the studio, that it's just a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, it takes time though,
Yeah, definitely. And it's been happening. It's exciting to see how fast like a bunch of people are getting on board,
involved.
And yeah, like my assistant's kicking ass right now. Shout out to Josh.
Big shout out to Josh.
Yeah.
Really nice kid. Listen, it seems like to run a business, you have to have balance. You have to. I mean, I know a lot of this was built on chaos and shit, but you have to have a sense of balance. To run your career, you don't. So is that just like a weird like tug and pull mentally? It's like, okay, I got to stay here. I got to get shit done concretely. But fuck, man, I might have to go shoot out to Denver and record for 6 days.
Yeah, and it sucks just like having to be unavailable when I have to be at like showing off like a game,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm in LA or Atlanta or something. I can't be focused on anything other than that, because there's already enough to remember about what's going on, and even notes to be taken, so I can help myself remember.
You're so cut out for it, though. Like, you're so cut out
Appreciate
for it.
it.
Honestly.
No, I definitely think I
handle the stress well.
Pick the right career.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And don't you think you callousing your brain a ton when this thing was coming up and you were like, fuck, makes you totally grateful now for being spread thin?
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
and I know that, like, if it really got to a point where I was just like, I can't take it anymore, I can just call people and be like, yo, can't do the session, sorry, gotta cancel. Like, I still am in control of it, like, I don't want to let people down, and I'm trying to make it so that, like, I have a really, really good replacement that no one will have any complaints about, so that if something short notice comes up, the schedule doesn't have to go into chaos, because that's what'll happen. Like, I'll be booked up for like a month and then get called out for like a 2-week trip that started as a 1-week trip. So then I have 1 week and then I think I'm coming back, and then I constantly get like rebooked for one more day, and have to keep making all these calls. And like, that's my least favorite part about having to travel, is canceling on people. How
essential from like, And you know what a crazy thing is? Probably when I was 17, I was like, yo, 23 is old. I'm sure when you're 23, you're like, yo, 29 is old. You realize you have like fucking 50 years left of this shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh damn, you're right.
It's dope.
That's a long time.
Snap. I think I got one too.
Al Schmidt, my assistant just gave me a book on Al Schmidt, and he's 88, I want to say, and he's still recording,
Oh, yeah.
still engineering.
Well, that's part of your... There's no age range for an
No.
engineer. Rapper, you know, you can be a rapper. Now you can be a rapper at like 15.
But you need to be able to breathe and run around on stage and give people a show. Like engineering, you're chilling.
You're stuck, man.
Pressing buttons.
Yeah, all I do is press buttons anyway.
Yeah, it's just like... Oh, here's a good question. How much have you seen the Boston market grow from start to finish?
A decent amount, a lot.
In terms of what?
Everything, the relevancy, the artists that have like had like minor or major hits, the fact that Joyner Lucas is nominated for the Grammys.
Has he been here yet?
What?
Has Joyner been here yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've recorded Joyner once before. I was supposed to record. E-Double asked me if I could record his project in January, and I had to say no. So
It's killing you inside. Just
Yeah,
wanna stab
little,
yourself.
a little bit. That one really
Yeah, we'll come
hurts.
back around though.
Yeah. And I recorded a version of Boot Up in 2015 here.
Oh, who's that? LMA?
Yeah, but I recorded it with an artist named Phaedra and the writer who wrote the song, Joel.
Is that the one that's like, in my feelings? Is that what that is? I'm feeling anxiety.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so in terms of market, though, like, one thing I just keep hitting on, I'm like, yo, there's, you know, you're one of, I would say, probably a handful of 150 to 200 people in Boston that make, that music is their job. You know that, right?
Yeah.
How does that change?
That number's probably right. I think there's... Are you kind of like people who do like live sound and...
No, just music in general. There's probably, except venue management, there's probably 100 to 150 people who music is their job. Opposed to LA, there's probably about 5 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it makes you a gem here. You know that, right?
It definitely became apparent after like 4 years in that I could make money with the studio. Like once we had beaten our 5-year projections and I realized we were off on those.
My fault.
You're good. I wanted to see like what it would take to really clean up, like really to make money. And now seeing what the studios in LA charge, I'm like, I don't know if we could ever get to those prices because we're not in the location.
Unless the market
I
total
wouldn't.
grows.
I don't know if I'd ever even want to do that. Like, I don't want to bankrupt like artists that they have no money for promo. Like,
Yeah,
part
but-
of my
but 10
reason,
years it could be
part of
there.
my reason why my prices are the way my prices are is because like I have too much heart and I don't want to like shut people out. And I've been waiting to be able to like figure out a system to like help people who've been day ones. You know, like who've really saved the studio when it was dying, and now that it's thriving, should like, you know, reap some of the reward and not all of like the punishment for bringing in the clients that are, you know, in their eyes fucking up the schedule.
Yeah.
People tell me that all the time. Like that's like 50% of the time when people like say hi to me, like that when they're coming in for their session, it's either like super enthusiastic, John, like super,
You're a great guy.
everything, all that shit, yo Daps, and or yo John, what's good with you? Why is it so hard to get time? Like, shouts out to Cam.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing, man. These are good problems.
Yeah, but people get actually frustrated, and I know people have like real lives and other shit going on, and I don't want to seem like just so busy that I'm apathetic to what's, you know, other people's priorities or timelines and shit. So yeah, I just want to stay a human is basically what I'm saying.
Tough though, man.
It's tough. I want to keep some of the humanity, even if I start having someone take over some of those like task of doing it. But I really want to move it all online. I think I have a plan.
Tough though. Like, mind you, before this had kind of started, I was never someone that like had constant demands of them. You know what I'm saying? And this is just obviously starting to, but like more or less, don't you feel like you're just kind of a servant to people? Like you just
I'm in the service industry.
You're just like, you have to serve people, and like I know it makes you a huge gem out here because like you're the best engineer out here, but at the same time it comes with some shit where you're like, damn, this fucking scene really needs me, man. Yeah. You feel the same way, right?
Definitely. And I want to make people from the scene blow up. I want to do that with a few people so that people in Boston can't fucking say that line I've heard all the time, that, you know, they have to go out of Boston to make it, or that, you know, nobody shows love in Boston and shit like that. We don't work. And it's definitely changed. Like, I heard that shit 4 times as much 4 years ago. I heard that shit every day before. Now people are like, oh, well, shit's actually moving in Boston. Like, there's a couple things going. There's like Masses at least got a few things like really going for it that put it on the map.
And the studio's one of them.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think that we're going to be a part of that if we have anything to say about it.
For sure.
Yeah.
The business, I'm just realizing the business is just not there for the scene. It's just not.
Yeah, we just have to bring it here.
That's the thing. You need 3 artists to blow up.
So when Triple X, his label at the time, blanking on the name of it. So Ghazi hit me to like book studio time for him, Trunks, and Ski Mask, but because there was a hurricane in Texas where they were booked, and then so they moved them to Florida, and there was the hurricane in Florida, and so they moved it to Boston because they thought that would be safe from the like.
They moved up here?
No, they just for the session. They just moved
so they came in
sessions. All of them did except for X because his court papers came out the day before his session. Yeah.
Shit.
Like,
so Ski Mask was here?
Yeah.
His flow. I'm trying to do it. He's a character for sure. His music videos are dope. Okay. How else should I market the business for this right now for this podcast? Can you just do your own promo? Tell them where to find you, your Twitters, and
put the thing down for
it's in every studio
because they're slightly different, which is annoying.
No, I do it in every one.
Yeah, but
it's at PHX.
Really, just text me 602-321-3422.
This guy's a sick. He's sick.
Yeah.
You got screws loose.
Like, if you want to talk to me, do that. If you go to the website, book time with me, you will not be disappointed. I'll give you your money back if you're disappointed.
Yeah. Also, let's shout out Josh too. If John is unavailable for a session, and mind you, this, in my opinion, you're not putting your best foot forward if you're in Boston and you're making music and you're not getting your shit mixed here and linking with everybody over here. Real shit. Everything's popping in the studio. Like, this is where it's at. Come check in. Come meet Big Bochi.
I'm about to give Josh's number out too. 914-400-9959.
Yeah, he's such a sicko. Maybe what I'll do
is they're ready to get like 40 calls a day.
Yeah, maybe what I'll do on Instagram is I'll just cut up that clip of Josh's thing and I'll push a $500 ad on it.
Nice.
It's all over
God, that'd be amazing.
It's all over the city.
Yo, can we put the picture of him and Snoop?
I haven't seen it yet. You have it on you?
Yeah.
Let me see it. I'm just trying to show you this thing. Look at that. I'm just trying to. Oh, look. It's gonna take a little bit. Fuck. There it is. Sweet. We'll pop it in the lower thirds. Right there.
Nice.
That's what we want, right?
Yeah.
Wait, so we're cool with that logo?
No, we're using the other one.
I've never got a vector file or anything.
That's fine. I'll figure it out.
And for this, I know you probably hate its guts. I don't know why. That was like the sickest animation I've ever made in my life. You
I
just,
didn't hate it.
there's something off about it, man.
Use it.
I use it because I told you, I was like, yo, when we start, I'll make sure that I run a season for every intern in here, everybody in the studio. So
Yeah, I just want you to do the same animation to the other one.
how does that thing gonna? How is it gonna have its bird? John just got it tattooed on his
it's
wrist.
right here.
How is that gonna have its wings flapping? How are we gonna animate that?
I mean, it can happen. Birds fly. This is a picture of a bird flying.
Who made that, Johnny?
Yeah. I'm not afraid of anything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Let's just get a decal right here. Isn't that crazy when the fan shuts off? Everything sounds really quiet.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It doesn't pick it up though here. Okay. Did I miss anything you want to touch on? To be honest, I just want to make sure that you're transparent about what it was like when you were grinding. That was just important to me. Like, he was fucking really dogging it. He's also sugarcoating it.
Yeah, so
It was whack.
it was whack. It was rough. And I had
You said you were lazy,
I
right?
had my friend Drew's band in, and the girl that I wanted to be my girlfriend again with me for a few days had a great time then and got back together, had some new confidence and some new goals. For me, that's been the biggest thing, is like the need for something has been a drive. Like, I thought making $5,000 a month was a lot until I needed to make 9,000. Like, if I didn't make 9,000, I was going to lose money. When it became like
Operating costs.
like, my wife is fucking amazing. Shout out to my
the
wife,
wifey.
Caitlin, because she does our finances and she does the spreadsheets and she does the Excel calculations.
She checks in with the label.
And she does all of that shit. Like, she does the paperwork, make sure that shit doesn't get like done fucked up, because that's not my strong suit. Like, I will fuck something up and not find out until it's too late when it comes to
He's got his wife right
like
here.
small details in emails.
This guy's really in love, man. Love's a real thing too.
Yeah, she's a big motivator for me, and she's in law school right now, so we've had a lot of bills. Like, she can't work while she's
Here?
in school. Yep, at BU.
Oh, word.
And so it meant having a lot more responsibility and just having to grow up a lot and having to prioritize and like being able to like raising my prices, like needing to do that and being real with myself about like what I'm worth, and like not letting what other people want influence what I need to get
So
done.
she's on the shits. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine what happens when she becomes a full-blown lawyer and you guys run the lucratively. This is all part of the plan, man. Watch out.
Then it'll be real
Scary. Whoa.
Yeah.
So you have no budge with like working with family. I know it's different 'cause your wife.
my nephew has come to record with me. Like, he came up for like a whole week last summer. He's gonna do it again this summer. He's like, Max is like one of my. I think he has like his favorite song that I've recorded.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Max will tell you, it's like he's like really on the wave. Like,
What
he's in
about
Seattle.
what about working with friends?
I work with my friend Drew's band. Some of that, if I've been their friend for a long time and I've recorded them before I was really good, like, then there's overlap with like old habits for them or old expectations, or sometimes it's just like old stories of like remembering when I used to suck, and I'm like, thanks for bringing all those stories
Yeah,
up.
it's a little more lax.
Yeah.
So,
But
so
sometimes it's them bringing up when they sucked too, so
Yeah.
it's not like just on me.
Who was the band you just had in here?
Crumb is my most successful project.
You know Crumb?
Crumb?
I just met-
I listen to Locket almost every day.
Yo,
That's my shit.
Crumb doing the new Crumb shit right now. Did all the Crumb shit ever been put out?
Fucking serious.
Yeah,
Yeah, those
dude,
are
that's my baby.
Bro, like,
Yo, we spent for yo. I'll
Rafi's
play, I'll
over
play
here
you some
losing
new
it.
shit. I'll play you some brand new. I'll play you some unheard. I'll play you something. I'll check with Crumb first, but
those were the dudes I met the other day, right?
yeah,
Mad cool.
yeah.
Well, you know he came in here
Like,
looking.
we're friends now for sure. Like, if Crumb was their last project they were doing before they all went to different states, and it was the only project that they were going to do where they weren't going to do a single show or go on tour. They weren't
Just
going
about
to
the
do
music.
anything. It was just for fun, not anything too crazy serious. It was Leela's first project singing on, and then Reddit post, tick, Spotify playlist, tick.
Huge. They he came in here. I think it was Jesse came in here, and he was looking for his laptop bag. And I was like, "Oh yeah, bro, I threw it out." He's like, "What, dude?" He's like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "My hard drive's in there, man." I was like, "Nah, dude, I'm fucking with you." He's like, "Okay, man, my fault." It's hilarious. Yeah. So John he's the man, bro. I hope everyone caught that. Okay. So do you know how we start and end these? You did it once in Mike's episode at the end.
I forgot.
It's all right. Just shows you, man. There's a lot of work going on. Listen. Oh, also, no one knows, and I'll tell you after, but we've had some pretty keen listeners on the show recently. Whoa. Happened faster than we thought. Okay. So, you're going to say hi. I'm John Scott. I would like you to, from a marketing sense, say hi, I'm John Scott. I run Phoenix Sound Recording. And this is my golden hour. Directly after no break, you only get one try. Hi, I'm John Scott, and this was my golden hour.
Hi, I'm John Scott. I run Phoenix Down Recording, and this is the golden hour.
Blew it. Got it wrong. Keep going.
Hi, this is John Scott, and this was my golden hour.
You got the second part right. First part, you said this is the. We got to go back to this is my. We'll give it another try. It's all right. I don't fuck with you anymore, but it's straight.
This is John Scott. I run Phoenix Down Recording, and this is my golden hour.
He's a great guy.
And I'm a great guy.
And then, right after.
This is John Scott, and that was my golden hour.
All right, you're a great guy. Thank you, man.
Hell yeah.
Hey, your boyfriend a op, he a vulture. Hey, had to wake